Here we're going to look at the break-even calculator, how it works, and what it'll do for your business. So basically, this calculator exists to answer the question every retailer has. How much do I need to sell just to cover my costs? We're not talking about profit here. We're just talking about making sure that you're not trading backwards. So we're going to walk through in a bit of detail. The first things that you're going to need are your monthly fixed costs. So you'll need a note of what these are. So you can look at it either as a total or break them down by line, and we'll go through that detail as we open up the calculator. Your average gross margin as a percentage, which is obviously the difference between the cost of your goods and the cost of sales, and we cover that actually on a different video if you want to watch that one. We also look at the average transactional value. We're also going to look at the average transaction value, which is optional, but it's actually very useful for setting you daily targets in terms of how many transactions you need to do per day. And we'll also cover the currency and the VAT in settings as we open up the calculator. Now here you can see in this kind of pinky color at the bottom is a how to use guide, but we're going to skip past that and walk through it together. So we're just going to click Open Calculator. So the first thing you'll see when you come in at the top is the settings. This will default into British pounds, but you could come in here, and you could change it to your currency, so whether that's in dollars or in krona. But for the purpose of this exercise, today we're going to leave it at UK pounds. Now, if your country uses VAT or sales tax, you can choose to either work with or without. We're in the UK, so we know that our VAT is 20%. So you can just hit this button, or you can overtype in here with whatever the number is that's relevant to you. Or if you're in a country the way you don't want to look at the sales, including VAT, but because we're going to do this example in sterling, I'm going to hit 20%. So the first thing you're going to look at are your costs. So you might have this as a total figure, so say £4,000, or many of us need to break it down a bit more into the different types of costs that we incur in our business. So the first thing, probably the biggest thing, will be your rent and rates. So in here, I'm going to put in £2,000. Salaries, I'm going to put in here another $2,000, assuming we're talking about quite a small store. Utilities, $150, insurance, $100, marketing, $150. We're also going to put in our packaging consumables, say $50, our software and subscriptions, so again, that might be $50. And there's a space here for other, which basically gives you space to put in any other costs that are specific to your business that aren't in the fields above. So as we head to gross margin, so this is the gross margin that you normally trade at. So I would say a full price month, your gross margin is 60%. And we're working with a retailer who has an ATV, average transaction value, of £60. So you'll see here on the right that the calculator has kicked out that in order to cover those costs with the stock that I'm trading, which has a 60% gross margin and a £60 ATV, that the monthly turnover we need to do is £9,000. So this works out at approximately £346, say £350. You need to be your daily target in terms of sales to break even. So that tells you how we got there. So what your fixed costs were, what your margin was, and what your break-even amount is before and after VAT. It also tells you the number of transactions needed. So that would be at this ATV of £60, you need to do 150 transactions, which averages out at 5.8 per day. Well, 6 a day. Let's round it up. So you will see here you have a summary at the bottom. You also have the ability to print this to Excel as a CSV file or to copy it. So basically, this video gives you a good idea of how much you need to sell in order to break even. So the end result is obviously £9,000 for this specific business. Now, this tool is set up as a guide, and it's using the basic principles needed for retail businesses all around the world. But your business will have slight nuances to it. So it's important that you use this information and apply it to how you see fit for your business. If you have any questions, please reach out. We'll be happy to help.